Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's kick off today's video with a story where a simple $5 oil top-off turns into a catastrophic lesson in pettiness. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. He screamed about a $5 oil charge, then demanded we drain it. This happened over 15 years ago, but it's stuck with me ever since as one of the pettiest, most ridiculous customer interactions I've ever witnessed. My father ran a successful and reputable auto body shop. We had steady business, great word of mouth, and a loyal base of customers. A big reason for that was my dad himself. He was a people person through and through, always went the extra mile for his customers. If he saw something minor out of place, he'd fix it without charging. He built his reputation on that honesty and care. One day, a guy brings in his early 90s Buick for some minor cosmetic work. I don't remember exactly what the repair was, just that it was a same-day job, something simple, nothing mechanical. We got the work done, no problem. But as the car was being moved through the shop, our shop manager at the time heard something strange, a rhythmic knocking sound from the engine. It wasn't super loud, but definitely noticeable. Being cautious, he popped the hood and checked the oil. It didn't even register on the dipstick. The car was running dangerously low on oil. That knocking, probably the rod starting to protest. So our manager added a couple of quarts to get it back up to a safe level. The knocking stopped, the engine smoothed out, and the car sounded much better. He made a note on the bill, 2 quarts of oil charged at $2.50 each, $5 total. That's it. When the customer came to pick up the car and saw the bill, he immediately flipped out. "What's this oil charge? I didn't authorize that." Our manager explained the situation clearly and calmly. Your engine was knocking and we found it was dangerously low on oil. We topped it off to protect the engine. It was only $5 and it probably saved you a serious repair. The guy was furious. He wasn't hearing it. "I didn't ask for oil. I didn't want oil. Take it off the bill." "Sure," the manager replied. "We'll take it off. No problem." That should have been the end of it, but no, this guy wasn't done. He pointed at the car and said, "I want it out. Drain the oil. You had no right to touch it." We all kind of stood there stunned for a second, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. So we pulled the car back into the shop, put it on the lift, drained the 2 quarts of oil, made sure he saw it, even showed him the drained oil in a pan. The whole process took about 10 to 15 minutes. He grumbled something about shady mechanics and nickel and diming people as he climbed back into the Buick. He turned the key, the knocking started up again instantly, louder this time. He revved it, scowled, and took off down the road like a man with a point to prove. He didn't get far, half a mile maybe, before the engine completely seized. From what I heard later, it threw a rod and died right there in the middle of traffic. No oil, old engine, already on its last legs. It didn't take much to finish it off. We never saw him again. No phone call, no yelling, no threats, just silence. Either the embarrassment was too much, or he realized just how monumentally he'd screwed himself. Word eventually got around from a mutual customer that he'd had to junk the car. To this day, it stands as a weird badge of honor among the old crew. The guy who demanded we remove the oil. Some people are so certain everyone's terrible that it's all they can see. When you're at a reliable auto shop, you should always listen to the workers since they know more than you do most of the time. And our second story. I'm not your maid. Here's your 4 a.m. reminder via clattering dishes. I'm 29, my fiance is 30, and we co-own our home together. We're a solid team. Bills split, housework split, chores, errands, all the boring adulting stuff. We do our best to share the load. But one area we diverge in hard is our schedules. My fiance works a standard 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday. Me, I bartend. Evenings 4 nights a week and 1 brunch shift on the weekend. Naturally, I've developed a weird sleep schedule. I usually crash somewhere around 9 or 10 a.m. and wake up around 2 p.m. or so. Add to that a sprinkle of insomnia, and you've got a recipe for restless 4 a.m. energy. We don't have kids, and this schedule works for me, so no harm, right? Except sometimes the clash of routines and expectations starts to boil over. Like this week. A few nights ago, we spent the evening tidying up the house together. I thought it went well. We split the work evenly, and I genuinely felt we were in sync. But then the sink, the eternal battlefield, started accumulating dishes. Again, our dishwasher was loaded, but there were too many dishes for a single load, and they began to stack up in the sink. Now, dishes are kind of our Achilles heel as a couple. He'll often leave dishes in the sink, even when there's room in the dishwasher. I try not to be petty about it, but I definitely notice. That night, I didn't clean them up because honestly, most of them weren't mine. I'd already done a ton that week, including shoveling our massive driveway during a brutal snowstorm, and I felt I'd contributed more than enough for one day. Plus, I had one of my usual sleepless nights and quietly spent it doing a paint by numbers in the living room, headphones on, not making a sound. So I come home the next evening to what starts as a compliment and swiftly turns into a jab. Your painting looks really good, but you really need to get your priorities straight. I blinked. Excuse me? He gestured toward the kitchen. The dishes, they're out of control again. That did it. That quiet little flicker of rage lit up like a bonfire. I was instantly pissed. I wanted to scream, "Your dishes, your damn cereal bowls and protein shake blender and 7 coffee mugs?" But instead I stewed. I didn't lash out. I just simmered it in until 4 a.m. That's when I decided he was absolutely right. I did need to get my priorities straight. So I tiptoed to the kitchen and began to handle the dishes, every last one. Only I didn't do it quietly. Oh no, I clanged, I clattered, I turned washing plates into a percussion performance worthy of a high school marching band. Water, full blast. Dishwasher door, slammed with gusto. I was not being passive, I was being maliciously compliant. About 10 minutes into my symphony of soap and spite, he shuffled into the kitchen, bleary-eyed and confused. "What the hell are you doing?" he mumbled. I gave him the calmest, most chipper smile I could muster and replied, "Getting my priorities straight, babe, just like you asked." He stared at me for a second, processing whether this was sarcasm or sleep deprivation. Then wisely he said nothing and went back to bed. I finished the kitchen in glorious, gleaming silence. Fast forward a few hours and the alarm clock blares. He gets up, groggy but perhaps wiser. I'm half awake at that point, still salty but not boiling anymore. We both mutter an apology, kind of stumbling through it in the way couples do after minor drama. He pauses in the kitchen doorway, taking in the gleaming countertops and empty sink. "Well," he says sheepishly, "good job on the kitchen. It looks really nice." No sarcasm, just a guy who realized he stepped on a landmine and lived to tell the tale. So we're good now, no grudge holding. We laughed about it later that afternoon, and I think he understood the message. I'm not his maid. This house runs because we both care, we both contribute, and we both sometimes need a wake-up call, literal or otherwise. And me, I'm back to painting at 4 a.m. with the sweet sound of clean dishes and sweet, sweet vindication echoing in my heart. Lesson learned for both of us. Your painting looks good, but you really need to get your priorities straight. I thought this line was going to be followed up with by trying to get more sleep and taking better care of yourself. And our last story. HOA denied my pool access and then vandalized my tree. I live on a corner lot. My house faces a quiet older street with no HOA oversight, but the side street belongs to a shiny little HOA neighborhood complete with all the trimmings. Uniform mailboxes, pastel homes, overwatered lawns, and a board full of folks who take community standards way too seriously. Now, directly across that side street, just steps from my fence, sits their pool and playground. When we first moved in, I figured, hey, why not be neighborly? I reached out and asked if I could pay HOA dues just to let my kids use the pool and playground. I wasn't asking for a gate code for free, just to contribute financially and let my kids splash around in the summer. They shut me down cold. Not even a discussion, just a no outsiders allowed. Fine, cool, whatever. We bought a sprinkler and moved on. A few years later, I planted a mulberry tree on my corner. This tree's a gem, shaded the sidewalk, bloomed in spring, and those berries, my kids used to pick them by the bucket. Now in their 20s, they still swing by every May just to grab a handful and feel like kids again. And then enter the HOA trolls. It started with a note taped to my front door. Your tree's branches are hanging too low over our street. This is against our neighborhood bylaws. I blinked. Your street? That's funny. I don't remember signing up for your little club. I sent a polite but firm reminder that I'm not part of their HOA. I'm not covered by your bylaws, I wrote. And if I were, trust me, my kids would have been using your pool years ago. They didn't take the hint. I got more notes, more reminders, even a knock at the door once from someone trying to hand me a printed copy of their landscaping rules. I refused it like it was a parking ticket. Then one day I came home and noticed something awful. One of the thickest, berry-heavy limbs on my mulberry tree had been hacked off. Clean cut right where it extended slightly over the sidewalk and into the street. No note, no apology, no explanation. But I didn't need one. I knew who did it. Now, I could have gone full legal. I could have filed a police report, tried to track down surveillance footage, even sued if I wanted to. But honestly, I wanted revenge. Visible, ridiculous, unmistakable revenge. So I got creative. I rebuilt the limb using PVC pipe. Yes, PVC. I zip-tied it to the trunk, wrapped it in garish multicolored Christmas lights, then proceeded to wrap the entire tree with every string of dollar store lights I could find. The result? Think haunted carnival meets rejected holiday parade float. It lit up the entire block like Vegas in May. I left it on 24/7. It buzzed, it blinked. It was glorious. A few days later, I got another letter, something about community cohesion and visual disturbances, straight to the trash. Eventually, 2 HOA board members showed up at my door, all smiles and friendly neighborhood chat energy. They asked if I'd be willing to tone it down because some residents were concerned about how the lights might affect property values. I smiled. Let me stop you right there. You cut my tree. You didn't ask, didn't warn me, didn't even leave a note. You vandalized my property because it didn't fit your aesthetics. So now, I decorate it however the hell I want. You don't get a say. They stood there awkwardly for a moment before one of them mumbled something about just trying to work together. I shut the door before they finished the sentence. The lights stayed up for 8 full months, through rain, wind, heat waves, and every HOA glare imaginable. I finally took them down the week before Christmas, just in time for actual holiday decorations to roll in. That mulberry tree still shades my yard like a leafy middle finger pointed straight across the street, and the HOA hasn't sent any notes. No more knocking. They look the other way when they pass by, and I can't say I blame them. You'd be horribly remiss failing to complete the F around and find out algorithm. Just like 5th grade, you remembered to show your work. Well done. You're exactly the petty justice hero we all need. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.